Does Sanji have Conqueror's Haki?
Hello, your computer.
Nani?
Nani?
First of all, spoiler warning for any non-manga readers of One Piece. I promise you, I'm doing it for your health, your mental health. Spoiler warnings ahead. Now, this is a question that folks have had for a minute now. However, even more so after the most recent chapter of One Piece, chapter 1034. The short answer to this question is no. But the right answer might actually be not yet.
Not yet.
I'll explain why later on in the video. The thing here is this. Sanji's recent awakening is actually, in a general sense, pretty simple to understand. But there are some underlining aspects about Sanji's power that folks might understand just yet. And these things actually do tie a lot more towards devil fruits rather than Haki. So I'll go into those reasons fully later on in the video as well. So right now, let's hop right into the nitty-gritty and talk about the Ifrit Jambe. The Ifrit Jambe, of course, is the next level of the devil leg. Like, think of the devil leg as a lesser demon, like a mob demon in Doom. And the Ifrit Jambe is an actual demon boss. So it's actually worthy of an HP bar. Lovely.
Lovely?
Absolutely lovely. According to Sanji, because of exoskeleton and his already trained arm at Haki, his body can now handle hotter fire. So the implication is that Sanji could have used hotter fire before, but his body couldn't handle that temperature of fire. At the bare minimum, Sanji in real time figured out that he could increase his temperature even more to that level, that Ifrit Jambe level. But how? Some folks wonder, how could Sanji just willingly increase the temperature of his fire on the spot? But the thing here is that people forget that things have always been that way for Sanji. They've always been that way. Of course, the Hell's Memories is the biggest tell, but it's not directly stated that the temperature of the fire is increasing, but there's just more fire. However, there are other tells as well that indicate that Sanji could increase the temperature of his flame at will. Number one, of course, is when he fought against his father, Judge. When Judge thought that he honestly deserved Father of the Year award, like an Oscar award for being such a great dad, my man Sanji got fed up with the cap. He did. And when he decided to will himself to take down Judge, before Judge used the meat shields, we can see that the flame around his leg actually increases in brightness. The fire seemingly gets more intense simply because Sanji willed himself to do so. Another time we can look at to indicate that Sanji is using hotter temperature is when he used the grill shot for the first time underwater against Surmi the Kraken. We see his leg become a sort of cross before he does the grill shot. And that could be a sign that Sanji was using hotter temperatures for that attack. So Sanji has always been able to increase, I'd argue, the temperature of his fire based on his emotions and his mental state. That has always, I'd argue, been the case. I did a two-part video called Why We Can Never See Sanji the Same Way Again. That video goes into kind of like the details on Sanji's power scheme and what could be the case moving forward. So after this video, check out that video. It's a pretty damn good video. A two-parter, I'm the two-parter video. So the main onus here about Sanji's abilities is that Sanji could, in theory, continue to raise his temperature as long as his body can handle it. The container made out of steel or carbon fiber or Supreme Drip Goku carbon fiber and not aluminum will allow Sanji to only increase the temperature of his fire even more. And remember, just like Jabra years ago, Sanji's fire already burned to the bone, so his attacks have internal damage to a degree, and that of course has probably gone up as well because of the Ifrit Jambe. Now the reason why we can see lightning in the Ifrit is probably just due to that, the increase in temperature. The main reason why people are thinking that Sanji can use Conqueror's Haki now, like actual Conqueror's Haki infusion, is because of the lightning effect on Sanji's legs. It's similar to Yamato and Luffy and recently Zoro as well, where they can apply Conqueror's Haki to their attacks. There is another option when it comes to Haki Lightning for Sanji, which is Armor Haki rather than Conqueror's Haki. Sanji himself states directly that Armor Haki is being used before he does Roll Queen with that combo attack and the Boff Burst. French guys, I apologize. The Beef Burst, how you want to say it. We've seen Katakuri actually with his Block Mochi when he first used against Luffy, actually sustain black lightning sparks around his hand. Jinbei against Who's Who, we see him emit black lightning around his body as well. However, the difference here between the two is that the black lightning for the Conqueror's Haki is a big sustained streak for whatever the Conqueror's Haki is imbued onto. Although admittedly, it is hard to tell the difference between that bigger-ish black lightning streak and the spark sometimes. Honest to God, I wish Oda drew it better, like there was a better distinction for the manga readers, but we take the scraps that Oda gives us. Sag. Of course, though, the key thing here with Sanji and his lightning is that it's not shaded in. It's white rather than black. Therefore, the tell here is that it's not Haki. The potency increase of Sanji's attack is not Haki related, it's temperature related. The Haki is actually there to protect his own body from its increase in temperature. So the lightning effect that we see on his devil leg now is him probably actually generating genuine lightning rather than Haki lightning. To be more specific, plasma. So now let's get on our lab goggles because we're gonna need these boys real quick. Yeah. And yes, when I did chemistry class, I did stack my goggles with my glasses because I couldn't see. So right here, ultra nerd. That being said, on Twitter, Resonance says this: with his exoskeleton and his COA, Sanji's not able to heat up his leg to oblivion, so hot that his legs is converting air molecules into ions, enabling Sanji to produce lightning. This phenomenon can be seen during a volcanic eruption. And what they're saying here is scientifically true. And the temperature of lightning can reach up to 54,000 degrees Fahrenheit or 30,000 degrees Celsius, several times hotter than the surface of the sun. If you compare the flame fruit heat temperature to the rumble fruit temperature, then lightning is much hotter than fire. Therefore, Sanji's Ifrit, now we see it making and producing plasma, should be hotter than the fire of Ace/Sabo, the Marimar no Mi, and even hotter than Akainu's Magu, the magma fruit. The question though, let's remove ultra nerd mode. The question though, is Oda going that far with the science?
I don't know.
That's the question.
Right?
And it's a tough one, because in One Piece, clearly tech and science are a big thing. But because it's an anime, manga, it gets really wonky. A person like Blackbeard makes black hole claims. Black holes are pretty disgusting, and we wouldn't want one the size of Blackbeard anywhere near this planet, honestly. So because of anime/manga logic when it comes to science, there is a reasonable doubt that Oda goes that far into the science. And I'll leave it at that for now because I don't want to have like a 40-minute video, because there are other reasons, but again, let's not have a 40-minute video here, okay? But because of that doubt that fans have in their minds, it does leave room for Haki to slide into the mix when it comes to Sanji's lightning/plasma. At the end of the day, I don't think this is anything to do with Conqueror's Haki, and I'll take Sanji's words at face value as they are. Though I'm not against the idea of Sanji getting Conqueror's Haki, but not now. I think that there are actually signs for Sanji to get Conqueror's Haki, but they tie to Sanji's German heritage, I'd personally argue, and something that Judge said during Whole Cake Island that I think is very important for end of series Sanji. So I will save that for another day, but if you want that video sooner rather than later, let me know in the comment section down below. But we're not done yet, because we have to get to the first part of Sanji's statement before he does the Ifrit fire. Sanji states, an exoskeleton, muscle, super speed. He will make use of all these aspects for his power. He even says a line very similar to Kizaru's iconic speed is weight.
Speed is weight. Observe.
Faster acceleration, heavier Wait, yes, Sanji has been training his muscles for so many years over the course of the time skip in Kamabaka. Sanji, with the exoskeleton, has gone probably even stronger attack, so his bone structure is much, much stronger. And on top of that, he's already been one of the fastest characters in the Strat crew, so fast at times, it's like he's disappeared. When you think about the powers that Sanji has used over the course of the time skip so far, and the new powers that he's recently gained, being able to ignite his body at will, a body that can snap its bones back together, naturally, now creating plasma, potentially, at will, also potentially keeping his stealth abilities, indicated by the sh suffix before Sanji tags Queen with the Hell's Memories in chapter 1031. Sanji's powers are like an amalgamation of devil fruit abilities. That's what seems to be the case here with Sanji. The swirls of the German kid's eyebrows has an indication of their DNA being altered, giving them powers similar as the fruit users, but of course via tech. Sanji's eyebrows changing in chapter 1031 is a notation of these abilities of the devil or monsters awakening within himself. So if Sanji can raise his temperature nigh endlessly, as long as his body can handle it, so we go from Supreme Drip Goku carbon fiber to Supreme Drip Goku adamantium bodies, then he might at some point be able to do kicks that resembles Kizaru's kicks in terms of how they're structured, because the temperature of the Glint fruit probably outweighs the temperature of the Rumble fruit. So light over lightning.
Maybe.
At least I would guess, in theory, in the One Piece world, okay? I would guess in theory. But remember what I said earlier about Sanji's leg when he did the grill shot against the Kraken Surmey underwater, and how it looked like a cross. It does kind of remind you a little bit, I'd argue, of Kizaru's kick and his cross for his kicks. After that, I don't recall seeing that style of devil leg for Sanji's kicks anymore. So what if that was a one-shot, a one-off, but in the future, for let's say EOS Sanji, that's a more consistent thing? I do wonder. So now you get the general gist about what's going on for Sanji's abilities, and hopefully you learn something new. If I'm on point or off point, only time can tell. In the future though, right?
Future.
As this fight against Queen continues, which I think it will. Yeah, this fight should still keep on going on, I think. But if not, if Sanji beat Queen with the beef burst, damn boy! Jeez, goddamn! Yeah, Sanji? Okay. But again, I'm going to assume that Sanji and Queen is going to continue. I can expect Sanji to exert more increased temperature, maybe go through another transformation where Hell's Memory is now like a fireball of plasma / lightning and fire rather than being purely fire. There's also still hints of the Lunarian abilities being the core of Sanji's flaming abilities. In chapter 1033, that random page of Sanji and Queen dialogue about the Lunarians might have been there to reinforce the idea that Sanji still has more power in him that we haven't seen activate just yet. If we see King, very important, if we see King use a similar lightning, fire, plasma thing against Zoro in that fight, then that would doubly confirm that Sanji's using that clan's abilities. That DNA lineage alteration is in his body. When we see Sanji call up Zoro, and he mentions not being in his right mind, Sanji clearly hasn't gotten to that point just yet. Now, of course, there is an underlining meaning to all this when it comes to Zoro and Sanji's dialogue. But if we take Sanji's words at face value and face value alone, Sanji may have a moment where his mental state is somewhat compromised. He loses himself in his rage, in fire, and might become a genuine monster before Queen truly does go down. Depending on how the fight goes between Queen and Sanji, there may be a stage 2 for this video. Hopefully, once again, you'll learn something new. Let me know your stance on the subject matter at hand. I'm gonna see y'all later. Peace, take care, have a nice one.